Upbeat, adventurous intro music fades slightly into the background. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that sounds like it's straight out of a Hollywood movie, but I promise you, it's 100% real. It's a tale of bravery, speed, and feathers. We're talking about one of the most unlikely heroes of World War II, a messenger pigeon named G.I. Joe. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A pigeon. A hero? Absolutely. In an era before smartphones and instant messaging, reliable communication was a matter of life and death on the battlefield. Radio technology existed, of course, but it was often unreliable, easily intercepted, or simply failed at the worst possible moments. That's where our feathered friends came in. Homing pigeons were the unsung heroes of wartime communication, flying through treacherous skies to deliver critical messages. G.I. Joe, a handsome blue checkered pigeon, was part of the United States Army Pigeon Service. He was born in Algiers, North Africa, in 1943 and was specially trained for these high-stakes missions. Pigeons like him were a vital asset, and their handlers, the pigeoneers, formed incredible bonds with them. They weren't just birds, they were soldiers with wings. So, let's set the scene for G.I. Joe's most famous mission. The date is October 18, 1943. The location is the small, heavily fortified village of Colvi Vecchia, Italy. This village was a key strategic point held by German forces and the Allied forces, specifically the British 56th Infantry Division, were tasked with capturing it. The plan was carefully coordinated. The British troops would advance on the village, while the U.S. Army Air Corps prepared to launch a massive aerial bombardment to soften up the German defenses and support the infantry assault. Everything was timed to the minute. The air raid was scheduled, and the bombers were ready to fly. But here's where things got complicated. The British ground troops were incredibly effective. They advanced much faster than anyone had anticipated, fighting fiercely and managing to push the German defenders out of Colvi Vecchia ahead of schedule. This was fantastic news, but it also created a terrifying problem. The British soldiers were now occupying the very village that was about to be bombed by their own allies. Panic set in. The British commander tried desperately to get a message to the airfield to call off the strike. Their radios failed. They had no way to communicate that the village was now full of friendly troops. Imagine the horror of that situation. Having just survived a brutal fight to capture your objective, only to realize you're about to be obliterated by friendly fire. They were sitting ducks with the clock ticking down to the scheduled bombing run. The bombers were due in less than half an hour. With all other options exhausted, they turned to their last hope. They scribbled a frantic message, stuffed it into a small capsule, and attached it to the leg of a brave little pigeon. That pigeon was G.I. Joe. His mission was simple, but the stakes couldn't have been higher. Fly 20 miles back to the Allied air base as fast as his wings could carry him. The lives of at least 100 British soldiers, and potentially the entire battalion, depended on him. As G.I. Joe was released, he shot into the sky, flying straight and true towards his destination. The soldiers on the ground could only watch and pray. They knew the bombers were already on their way. Every second counted. He had to outrun the planes. G.I. Joe flew those 20 miles in just 20 minutes. That's an average speed of a mile a minute, or 60 miles per hour. Think about that, flying at highway speeds, directly into the heart of a military command center. He arrived at the airbase just as the bombers were taxiing on the runway, their engines roaring, moments away from takeoff. An officer saw him land, immediately retrieved the message, and sprinted to the control tower. The urgent order was relayed. Abort mission. Abort mission. Colvi Vecchia is in friendly hands. The pilots received the message just in the nick of time, and the bombers were called back. G.I. Joe had done it. He had saved the lives of over 100 soldiers. The news of his incredible flight spread like wildfire. He wasn't just a bird anymore, he was a hero. His bravery was officially recognized in a very special way. In November 1946, G.I. Joe was flown to London. There, at the Tower of London, he was presented with the Dickin Medal for Animal Valor. This is the highest honor an animal can receive for military service, essentially the animal equivalent of the Victoria Cross or the Medal of Honor. The citation read, "For the most outstanding flight made by a United States Army Pigeon in World War II." He was the 29th recipient of the medal and the first non-British animal to be honored. The Lord Mayor of London himself presented the award, celebrating the little pigeon who prevented a catastrophic tragedy. After the war, G.I. Joe, along with 24 other heroic pigeons, was housed at the U.S. Army's Pigeon Hall of Fame in Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. He lived out the rest of his days in comfort and celebrity, a living legend. He passed away in 1961 at the ripe old age of 18, and his legacy lives on. His preserved body is on display at the U.S. Army Communications and Electronics Museum, a permanent reminder of his extraordinary service. The story of G.I. Joe is more than just a fascinating piece of history. It's a powerful reminder that heroism can be found in the most unexpected places. It highlights the crucial role that animals have played in human conflicts and the incredible bonds we can form with them. In a world of advanced technology, it is humbling to remember a time when the fate of 100 men rested on the wings of a single, determined pigeon. What an incredible story, right? Let me know in the comments if you've heard of other amazing animal heroes from history. I'd love to read your suggestions for future videos. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share this piece of history with you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next story. Until next time, stay curious.